My name is Commander Kibwe Ikande, and I'm in charge of this operation for UC SysDef. Are you familiar with what we do?
I'm hit!
You can win. Let's get started, shall we? The pirates, like the ones you tangled with on Vectera? Please stop pretending you have no idea what I'm talking about. You should be fine. As terrible as your actions were, they probably assuaged any concerns the fleet had. All right, I suppose that's all for now. Yes, if nothing else, your actions, while reprehensible, will put to bed any suspicions they may have had. We can pick up local communications chatter and use long-range scans to see where you travel. But when you're on the ground, you're on your own. You're lying. I may have fallen for it once before, but I will not this time. It appears that you have a background in cyber running. Perfect. Information gathering is one of our top priorities around here. Call it a reward, a token of appreciation, whatever the hell you want. But you've absolutely earned every credit. That's where you're wrong. You can believe in honor among thieves, but I'd venture they suspect everyone until proven otherwise. That all depends on what you've brought back from your mission. You're being removed from this ship and transferred to prison, where you pay for your crimes. As the chief source of pirate activity, the Crimson Fleet is our primary target. You keep playing along and go after the Comspike. Lieutenant Toft and I will see what we can find out about Bannock 4. I've tried to be patient with you, but my patience and your time with SysDef is at an end. The catch is that you can't just knock on their front door and ask for an application. Getting inside is going to take some finesse. Get off my ship. The only reason you should be opening fire on anyone is in the defense of your own life. If there's a route to your goal which doesn't involve killing innocent people, I'm urging you to follow that path. When you return here with Crix's legacy, we'll begin the attack. Good luck. It's long overdue, and you even return the extra supplies that were jettisoned. We'll make sure they find the right home. Hey, I want to talk to you right now. Whatever caused you to turn your back on us, I hope it was worth it. Lieutenant Toft will continue the briefing. It will be far easier to explain to Mast why the Crimson Fleet gained possession of classified material if the Crimson Fleet is no more. I admit, it's not an easy decision. I take it not everyone was able to abandon ship. I believe the galaxy is safer without you in it, and I will do everything in my power to remove you from it. If we shove enough concrete evidence under their noses, they'll have no choice but to allocate the resources that I've requested. Not for me. For yourself. United Colonies System Defense. Does that help you figure out exactly what it is we do? We are prepared to die for what is right. Don't mistake what you're doing as some sort of heroic gesture. We're all risking our lives here. Coming to her rescue ensured that would not be a problem. I heard about that little stunt you pulled on the Siren of the Stars. Opening fire on a Starliner? Are you out of your mind? What is it? I have a battle plan to prep. All right, I guess this is it. Do whatever prep you need to do aboard the Vigilance, and then head out to Bannock 4. I understand. You've done more work under my command than some law enforcement officials see in a lifetime. The only reason you should be opening fire on anyone is in the defense of your own life. You win. I've cancelled this self-destruct. I was beginning to think you were having second thoughts about Commander Tuala's offer. That's fine. Overall, excellent news, Lieutenant. We're working against the clock here. So let's start by discussing the status of the Comspike. It's an advanced signal decryption and tracking device that the UC Navy's been working on for years. How the hell did the Crimson Fleet find out about that? That's where you and I differ. I've tried to be patient with you, but my patience and your time with SysDef is at an end. Then it worked. You're in. Sounds like everything is going as expected. Don't thank me yet. If it had been completely up to me, you'd get a lot more than they're giving you. I'm confident that once Crix's legacy is in our possession, we'll get the support we need from my superiors to take the fleet down. Excellent. If you're heading to the Key, I assume you'll be meeting Delgado soon. Fortunately, you've provided just enough information for me to convince the Council that this program should continue. You open fire on SY-920 and kill people! Just who the hell do you think you are? How about you? I know that was difficult. You hanging in there? Do something like this again, and you're out. Permanently. Whatever your motivations, your actions make you a monster. I would kill you myself, but... Last time we met, I was trying to force you to join. But now that you're free from prison, I have a lot less to hold over your head. And why would I do that? At the end of the day, your primary goal is taking down the Crimson Fleet. That's the greater good. I understand. You've gotten to know these pirates, perhaps even bonded with them. Extremely critical. It's unfortunate the Regana caught itself in the crossfire of Neva Mora's personal vendetta. We'll be monitoring your activities from the Vigilance and attempting to keep it within your vicinity. No, you couldn't have. Our directive is simple. We are tasked with the eradication of space piracy in the settled systems, but a gamble that hopefully paid off. On that note, how did things go with Neva? Were you able to join the fleet? Physically? I'm sure they'll be fine. But mentally? Who's to say? I don't send my people on suicide missions. Lieutenant Toft and I are confident you have what it takes to get the job done. I'm well aware Ayumi Komiko wasn't a model citizen. In fact, from what I've been told, she's quite the opposite. And before you depart, I wanted you to know that your efforts are helping us gain interest among my superiors. A wise decision on your part. This is just the beginning, but it's an important first step. Lieutenant, if you wouldn't mind explaining our strategy. There are people that will handle Jenadine's lawyers, so we can continue our jobs bringing down the Crimson Fleet. Be careful. Delgado isn't going to take prisoners. No. We're well past sorry this time. You've screwed everything up. Commanders are given briefings on classified projects, as they may be relevant to our current operations. Fortunately, your actions allowed the Regana to reach New Homestead with its cargo intact. That money doesn't belong to you, or the Crimson Fleet, or even UC SysDef. It was for war reparations and belongs to the people. If the fleet only cares about credits, then your death will only mean a bigger split. But I wasn't looking for an answer. My question was rhetorical. If the money were truly enough, then you would have ended my life long ago. There would be no point in keeping me prisoner. That one's simple. We monitored your ships heading down to the surface of Suvorov. You're just going to have to follow your instincts and trust me. There you are. I'm going to make this short and simple. You're being removed from this ship and transferred to prison, where you'll pay for your crimes. Stay focused and be careful out there. Since you're already involved with the Vanguard, I don't have to underline how important your contribution will be to the security of our spaceways. A wise decision on your part. Let's not ruin the moment, Gillian. I'm sure our friend here is feeling quite pleased. Am I correct? Part of your job was keeping those people on the Siren alive. Whether they're guilty or not wasn't up to you to decide. Well said, Lieutenant. Suit yourself. You always have a choice. On rare occasions, we may ask for a project to be pushed through or given more resources. Because the Crimson Fleet would be a totally different adversary, and Kriegs wouldn't have disappeared years ago. This is not how UC SysDef operates. If you do it again, you're off this operation, and I'll have Toft throw you in the brig. If you let your role strip that away, you become one of them. You're of no use to me. Understood? Just stick with the plan, and we'll see who gets to Kriegs' legacy first. It doesn't matter how I feel. I'm simply doing what's best for the security of the United Colonies. Why do you keep me here? Well done. With Mass's full support, you can focus on taking out Battery Alpha before supporting the other squadrons. Huh. You're absolutely right. Well, I'll have my people get right on that. I can understand that. The dual life you are leading must have been incredibly stressful. Well, first of all, we'll forget about the infraction that landed you on the Vigilance. Wipe the slate clean. I'm not coercing you into doing anything. I'm simply giving you a chance to redeem yourself. Ah, there you are. Commander Kibwe Ikande, UC SysDef. Glad to have you aboard. It's a dangerous plan, and you came awfully close to killing more than just Rick. Long enough to allow me to talk to you before we all die. If you think for one moment I'm going to allow you to continue under my command, then you've seriously underestimated my judgment. Report back when you're done. Good. You'll find that I'm a stickler for details, and I'd hate to discover that your file is incomplete. It's no miracle, given the cost. Hopefully things will be much smoother going forward. All we know is that she's been with the Trade Authority for years, which means she's been privy to some seriously shady deals. So the legacy went down at Bannock 4. Bannock 4. Why does that sound familiar, Toft? You represent UC SysDev, which means you always have a choice. You've really become an important part of our team. It won't be the same around here without you. Stay vigilant. It appears he's certainly picked the right person for the job. And don't bother trying to leave the ship. I think you'll find all access to the docking area is fully restricted. We'll make sure they get transported to their original destination. They have taken the engine room! Fall back! Defensive stations! Then things are moving forward. Perfect. Strange. She must want to vet you some more. And yet, here I am. Let's get one thing straight right now, soldier. You've come a long way from being a nameless prisoner in my brig. Doesn't matter if that ship went down 5 or 500 years ago. If news gets out that a bank has misplaced money, it would tank their value. Seems you had a bit of a reckless past. Always fancied yourself as a wild one, eh? We can work with that. That's something we're looking into, but it doesn't seem like he knows much. He might be better served as bait. Your background seems to indicate you are a notorious sword for hire. Well, perhaps we can put that to good use. Then you better learn to swim, because you're diving right into the deep end on this one. If my legacy is killing you and the rest of the fleet's captains, then I will happily destroy this ship. I will not get off your back. I told you when you began this operation that you're under my command. But you did so with an abundance of stealth and restraint. That's exactly what we're looking for in a SysDev operative. Do you understand what you've done here? Well said. Let's hope the next time your actions match the integrity of your words. Crimson Fleet. This is Commander Ikande of the UC Vigilance. Surrender and prepare to be boarded. Please give me your report. It appears you have a bit of a background in big game hunting. Perfect. We'll be certain to put those skills to good use. The Crimson Fleet is no more. On behalf of the entire galaxy, I thank you. You may be right. Someday you will die. But a martyr lives forever. Maybe so, but the crimes of other pirates pales in comparison to the damage you alone can wreak. There you are. I'm going to make this short and simple. Looks like you spent several years dabbling in industry and finance. It's a far cry from where you are now. I will, when I'm ready. Decorum, Lieutenant. However, that doesn't give you an excuse to act as judge, jury, and executioner. What the hell were you thinking? If you knew the drill, you'd keep your mouth shut. So I take it you have good news. Were you able to join the fleet? Seems you fancied yourself a bit of an explorer in the past. That lines up with where you are now. It's a dangerous plan, and you came awfully close to killing an innocent crew. I've asked my superiors the same thing. But the Council is resistant to the notion that the Crimson Fleet is a serious threat. All my hopes go with you. Good luck. Let's get one thing straight right now. Wrong. It's a huge price. I want to take down the fleet as badly as you do. But murdering innocent people is unacceptable. A wise decision on your part. Well, yes, I believe it did. Judging from the fact that this data involves both Crix and Legacy, I'd say it's as real as it gets, Ranger Cole. So, let me see what we're working with here. Exactly. The Crimson Fleet is not a monolith. Any information you have on its members can only help. But regardless, two things will always be true. We will return the legacy to its rightful owners, and Mast will dictate the terms. I will not get off your back. I told you when you began this operation that you're under my command. I don't see the point. The Crimson Fleet apparently has a pipeline of information flowing from somewhere within the UC military. Luckily, you have a good head on your shoulders, and did the right thing. Of course I am, but we don't really have a choice in the matter. Yes, but not at the expense of others. Even if our end goal is noble, we have no right to murder innocent people. While you're working for me, I'm going to treat you like one of my own. You wouldn't. You've already come this far, which makes you the most resourceful operative in SysDev's history. Yes, well, this is your only opportunity to keep yourself out of jail. So I suggest you change your attitude. You see, that is called loyalty. A concept that you are obviously unfamiliar with. You weren't Ecliptic's primary target. Besides, I had every confidence you'd be able to handle this situation. Part of your job was to keep innocent people alive. Instead, you chose to do things your own way. And now look where we are. Finally, something we can agree on. I believe you're fully capable of avoiding the need to take a life. But if it jeopardizes the mission, we'll evaluate when the time comes. Sparing the lives of the soldiers on SY-920 has definitely made our position with the top brass much easier. Because I need you to look me in the eye and tell me what motivates a person to cast aside all of their morals. I had a feeling you were different from the moment we met. There's no science behind it. Just an intuition I've learned to trust. Do you understand what you've done here? I'd suggest you spend less time worrying about us and more time being concerned with the task at hand. Now that we've cleared that up, back to the mission. No rush. You've been through a lot. I understand. You have no reason to feel guilty about anything. I'm going to have one of my men escort you to the operations center. I strongly suggest that you don't give him any trouble. Thankfully, you at least managed to spare the rest of the crew. There you are. We need to talk right now. Where you'll meet Delgado, no doubt. I will not let you leave this room! Excellent. I'm happy we haven't somehow frightened you away. Speaking of which, let's see what we're working with here. Looks like you spent some time as a professor. Having that sort of educational aptitude makes you an ideal candidate for our operation. No, I don't. You're an animal. I've received the reports about that stunt you pulled on Neon. Such an obvious answer. I am honestly surprised. Can you imagine the amount of embarrassment Galbank would have to endure if they listed a lost transport in the ship registry? Which means that Delgado will have the Crimson Fleet prepping defenses of its own. Our intelligence has managed to find a possible opening into the Crimson Fleet through Saoirse Bowden, one of their contacts. Damn pirates. We need more evidence that all the Crimson Fleet's plans will result in them actually getting their hands on this fabled cache of credits. I understand the difficulty of your task, but you have to take their lives into account. Understood? If we can get someone on the inside, we'd have a shot at finding a loose thread we can pull to bring it all down. But that doesn't mean what you did to Rick or Carl Fielding is acceptable behavior. All right. I think we're both in agreement here. So let's get back to the operation at hand. On the books, they maintain combat-ready spaceborne forces to deter aggression and ensure the safety of the United Colonies. At this point, whether you like it or not, you're working for me. Now, on to other more pressing matters. They are mercenaries for hire. If they are paid enough money, Ecliptic would attack the Vigilance. But you won't be alone. This is where all your hard work gathering evidence pays off. You still have the Crimson Fleet's trust, and you were able to spare lives in the process. I also see that you've mined on Vectera, and now you're with Constellation. You've certainly been quite busy. To put it simply, if it wasn't for you, this operation would be at a standstill. No, let's allow this to run its course. We have our agent here feeding us information. I think that's good enough for now. If you suddenly change your behavior, they'll know something's wrong. I realize it's difficult, but I urge you to stay the course for now. This mission will be tricky. The comm spike will be heavily guarded, but I trust you can do it without violence. I'm impressed. You have quite the criminal history. That will definitely fall in line with our needs. Fine. This is what we're going to do. Delgado's no fool. If he risked his own neck to get that information, then he must be on to something. We have to take this seriously. Be careful. Don't underestimate the Crimson Fleet. Oh, and look at that. Right at the bottom of this list is the criminal incident that landed you in my crosshairs. I'll see what I can do. You've certainly gone above and beyond the call of duty. As you've probably guessed, not very well. And shut off that damn alarm! It was either that, or Neighbor possibly denying you entry into the Crimson Fleet for coming back without killing Rick. Sadly, we didn't get as much support for this mission as I would have liked. There just wasn't enough evidence gathered. It wasn't terribly difficult to convince them to attack an isolated Crimson Fleet ship. Just expensive. You always have a choice. I wasn't lying when I said that we had every contingency completely covered. The credits from that Galbank transport cannot reach the fleet. You have to bring them here at all costs, even though we were rivals at the time, and I suppose we still are to some extent. The credits still rightfully belong to their people. If the Crimson Fleet gets its hands on a transport full of currency, it would be disastrous for the settled systems. I've received the reports about your little foray into Genodyne. Last piece of the puzzle before you go after Crix's legacy. Anyway, I'm sure you'll understand if I have to say goodbye for now. I have some prisoner records to analyze. Whatever suffering you hope to dole out will end the moment this ship is destroyed. So what's next for you on Neva's agenda? Well, this is it. After years of planning, it all comes down to this moment. You coerced him to let you aboard. Then you got in a gunfight with civilians in the crossfire. Let's move on from this and return to the mission at hand. What happened with Neva? Were you able to join the fleet? And beyond the Crimson Fleet, piracy will always be an issue, so long as ships traverse unregulated space. Yes, and I heard there were no casualties. Excellent work. It's time to put all the cards on the table and prepare to attack the key. Please, proceed with your report. You can rest assured, if the Crimson Fleet had any access to our whereabouts or had infiltrated our security, we'd know. I'm afraid she's the best lead we've got. I know this isn't easy for you. You've spent countless hours bonding with these pirates, and perhaps on some superficial level, you consider them your friends. And the more people we arrest, the greater the chance that your infiltration is discovered. In light of what's about to happen to us, I suppose it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's time to hand you over to Lieutenant Toft. She'll brief you about the details of the evidence-gathering portion of the operation. That's the plan. I'm surprised. I thought this was one of those tales that made it to every corner of the settled systems. Now it's time for the next phase of the mission. And what about Neva Mora? Lower your weapon, Gillian. You stop now. Delgado will make it his life's work to hunt you down and kill you. Let's move on and return to the mission at hand. Were you able to join the fleet? Wait a moment. Are you telling me Delgado may have actually located Crix's legacy? Better still, depending on how well you do your job, we'll even kick in a few extra credits to offset any cost that the operation will incur. I hope your entry into the fleet has overcome any doubts you may have had regarding your mission. It certainly increased my estimates on success. Still, it should only be a matter of time before they invite you to the key. That's likely where you'll meet Delgado. I don't care how many you saved. I care that there was a casualty. We don't handle things around here by using murder as a tool. Damn pirate filth. Do you actually think you stand a chance against the entire SysDef fleet? But what's done is done. Hopefully some good came out of it. You're back? Anything to report? It's time to dig deep and get the job done. Which means you will follow my orders and do exactly as I say. You should be. What you've done to serve the UC in this short amount of time is more than most people could hope to do in their entire lives. They're long haulers, not soldiers, and they were forced to watch one of their own be executed in cold blood. You and I both know that seeing someone die firsthand, it changes you, takes a mental toll. Things will never be the same for them again. Pirates claim they aren't cruel. All they want is credits. Well, you have them. A fortune to give the fleet entire generations of wealth. Use your instincts. I'm certain you'll do the right thing. A bribe? You seriously believe I'm about to hand over SysDef's flagship to the Crimson Fleet for some money? Is there anything else I can answer before you proceed to the next phase of your mission? At first glance, this can appear quite enticing, so I'm warning you not to get lured into their trap. Think you can handle that? It's time to put all the cards on the table and prepare to attack the key. In any case, now that you're with the fleet, you'll be operating independently. It's imperative that you do. While you're running with the Crimson Fleet, you're undoubtedly going to be faced with some morally gray decisions. We're about to pull the trigger on the largest scale operation in UC SysDef history. That was quick thinking on your part. Selfless and creative. Well, you better learn quick. Otherwise, I'll start looking for someone to take your place. Bannock 4 is an EM-class gas giant, but if so, what you did was uncalled for. I thought it was clear that Lieutenant Toft should be your next stop. In fact, we recently put in a request to upgrade our shields, which we hope will pay dividends in the near future. With the support ships the UC sent us, now we have a chance to take out those defensive batteries and get close to the key. As an undercover operative for UC SysDef, you'll be expected to follow our code of conduct and ethics. When you put it that way, it does seem hopeless. Let me see what you got. Any information that you turn over will not be leaving this ship until it's fully encrypted and encoded. I give you my word. You have permission to speak freely. You cannot simply pass off the burden of the job whenever it suits you. Understood?
I have mast breathing down my neck. They're ready to shut down this entire operation.
Good. Fine. Whatever gets the job done. Or you can throw all that away and end up back in jail with a hefty fine attached. Can we try and focus on the matter at hand, please? Allow yourself to stray too far off the path, and you stand a good chance of spiraling out of control.
I don't care if we're one step away from Crix's legacy. If you do it again, you're off this operation, and I'll have Tough throw you in the brig.
Yes, you pass your first test and you're still alive. You will be thankful you did the homework when it comes time for the test.
That's enough, Lieutenant. What do you need?
Are you saying you'll spare her and my crew? I'm loath to trust you, but you also have no reason to hold us.
What you've done is use a shortcut to get the job done without accounting for any of the ramifications. That's unacceptable.
I am prepared for that. But my crew... There was concern after what happened with the Regana that you might have trouble earning Neva's trust. That being said, I believe you should be proud of what you've accomplished. When you broke the law, you forfeited your rights. So basically, I can do whatever the hell I want. There's more to this than just finding the location of the transport. Jasper Crix was clever, and for some reason, he never got there.
That's where you're wrong. This is not a sacrifice. Those who remain are likely already dead. This is vengeance.
So you see,
it is not just about the money. With pirates, it never is.
I believe we have something important to discuss. No, the Crimson Fleet are in dire shape right now. They haven't seen that much currency, well, ever. They're finally beginning to believe that we can take down the Crimson Fleet and make amends for the UC's embarrassing mistake.
You have your orders.
It amazes me that despite how much you have seen people suffer for the sake of wealth, you still chose it as your primary motivation.
With the fleet gone, I briefly considered retirement. But this work is my passion, and I won't leave it just yet.
Smart choice. My instincts told me you were the right person, but I suppose I was wrong. For now, we'll keep him in the brig. Perhaps you could pay him a visit there sometime? I'm sure he'd be pleased to see you. No. The solution is to stick to the undercover operation and determine how much of this is truly a credible threat. I do. I know it's a delicate tightrope, and it doesn't go unnoticed that you're risking your own life to walk it. The fact that our common enemy owes its existence to the United Colonies, of course. In other words, it's not time to retire just yet. There is still plenty of work to do. I understand that you are under a lot of pressure, but I'm afraid there is no turning back.
I should make you say that to the families of the innocents you murdered.
No. No, you don't. Not yet, anyway.
This is not how UC SysDef operates. If you do it again, you're off this operation, and I'll have Tough throw you in the brig.
I'm not advocating violence. I'm merely urging you to weigh the consequences before you open fire.
Which means you will follow my orders and do exactly what I say.
The conduction grid? Says here that you spent several years as a soldier. That means you understand how to respect the chain of command. Good.
Cover me!
Well, it's the best we've got. And wherever you might find yourself, my best wishes travel with you. As you were, you deserve a nice long break. However, if you are so inclined, Lieutenant Toft can supply you with additional work. If I didn't have confidence in your abilities, I would have told Commander Tuala to send someone else.
All ships, bring this pirate to justice. Vigilance out. I should make you say that to Ayumi's next of kin.
I've already set up counseling support for the crew, should they feel the need. Given time, hopefully they'll be able to move past what they've seen. I understand your concern, but you can rest assured that every member of this crew has been thoroughly vetted by both myself and Lieutenant Toft.
I should make you say that to the families of the innocents you murdered.
If not for them, well, we would not have made it this far. This is their victory, as much as it is ours. As long as you're here, your identity is safe. This is the Operations Center of the UC Vigilance, SysDef's nerve center dedicated to the destruction of the Crimson Fleet. We received word you boarded the Ragana. I don't care if Rake was with the fleet. The pilot and his crew were not. Even with Crix's legacy in our hands, the fact that the enemy came this close to having that much money at their disposal changed their minds. I'm sorry it's come to this,
but you've left me no choice. Once those batteries are destroyed, you board the key and bring Delgado to justice. If you won't come quietly, you do what you have to do.
If you have any questions, now's the time to ask.
So you'll have to forgive me for being so impatient when I ask where the hell you've been.
Get off my ship. I was certain we'd fool Delgado, but never. She's a sharp one. Overcoming her scrutiny is no small matter. If the money were truly enough, then you would stop the piracy and buy your freedom. You wouldn't need a so-called bargaining chip. Fun? Is gambling with people's lives some kind of game to you? Excellent. Then let's get right to it, shall we? Even if they hid the money with that damn human computer Shinny of us, our forensic accounting people would have found that data. Even with our best intelligence equipment, we can monitor very little from the vigilance. Fortunately, you provided just enough information for me to convince the council that this program should continue. She's shrewd and she's diligent. The only reason we were able to connect her with the Crimson Fleet at all was thanks to an informant. So, now that you're part of the team, allow me to introduce you to your new home. After the money is turned over to Mast, I'm certain arrangements will be made to return the money to the proper authorities in Aquila City. That doesn't diminish the gravity of the mistake you've made. All right, calm down, Lieutenant. So to help with that, I ask that you show additional care. Any crimes against UC personnel will bring unwanted attention to both you and the operation. Ironic that the one who tarnishes my legacy tries to appeal to it. But this doesn't mean you're wrong. As long as you can distinguish between surviving and thriving, you'll do just fine. I expected you to find another way. But before we get too confident, that either means she suspects nothing, or she intends to make an example of you later. Lieutenant Toft will explain all of the details. In the meantime, we'll formulate a plan to ensure the Crimson Fleet doesn't get their hands on that money. But for now, we will continue with the briefing. Were you at least able to join the fleet? You are lucky we intercepted your exchange with the Ragana. We were able to get a second shipment of supplies arranged. Good luck. Whether this ship is impressive or not, you're the key element that we've been lacking. Given your background, I admit you won't need much time. Even if we delay you, it might not be long enough. Looks like you spent some time dabbling in xenobiology. It's pretty far from what we deal with around here. But you'll fall in line. That's easy to answer. You don't. Do you understand? Oh, one more thing before we move on. For transparency's sake, you should know we were the ones that hired Ecliptic to attack Neva's ship. All of our ships, personnel and resources have been waiting for your report. Lives are potentially hanging in the balance. I don't believe you, but there's even a chance you're telling the truth. We got the message from the Regana about Austin Rick. We had him dropped off at a separate port, off the books. This will also give us time to bolster our defenses, should we need to engage with the fleet in the future. Just use your best judgment, trust your instincts, and watch your back. If you would kindly continue. Says here you started out as a bouncer for a pretty rough establishment. Oh, that's absolutely perfect. I don't care if you're from the Vanguard, the Navy, or the technician that scrapes the carbon scoring off the engine nozzles. Do you actually think Mast will want any part of the disgraced commander? I hold no value to them. Only to you. Betraying Juan Dayu for cover was a dangerous gambit, but it seems to have paid off. Do you have anything to report? On that note, how did things go with Neva? Were you able to join the fleet? You search for more options. And when those fail, you search for even more. Anything that prevents you from drawing that weapon. Even if Delgado has an immediate solution to the EM problem, there's still the matter of tracing the Legacy's transponder signal. For your own safety, nobody but myself and the crew of the Vigilance will be aware that you're working for the United Colonies. No, it wasn't. You just chose the easy way out. My God, is that it? Is that Crix's legacy? Amazing. Do not compare our treatment of criminals with your punishing of the innocent. They are not the same. UC SysDev is a division of the UC Navy. While they handle big picture stuff, we deal specifically with pirates. Can't believe I listened to your lies. They've sent us support ships, extra troops, weapons. All on account of your role in the operation. Which means you will follow my orders and do exactly what I say. Still trying to play both sides, are we? I would respect you more if you owned your allegiance to the fleet. What's your next move? It was the riot at the lock, touched off by Jasper Creeks, that inspired him to create the Crimson Fleet in the first place. I'll be looking forward to your next report. Good luck. And please, be careful. I assure you, there is only information that is pertinent to the mission. Our dossiers are designed to be succinct. You've been hired to act like one of the fleet, but you can't get lost in the part. We still have rules that need to be followed. Understood? You're back. Good. I presume that means you're willing to join the team? I'm afraid we have no choice. I refuse to be the reason that my crew is tortured and ransomed by the Crimson Fleet. If you think for one moment I'm going to allow you to continue under my command, then you've seriously underestimated my judgment. You opened fire inside Genadine, a civilian facility. This is completely unacceptable. Are you out of your mind? Damn you. At the same time, we can use the evidence to arrest members of the Crimson Fleet, weakening them enough to strike a fatal blow. Excuse me? That doesn't sound like someone who's concerned about serving the United Colonies. That doesn't diminish the gravity of the mistake you've made. What all that fancy claptrap means is that they're the ones who fight in the wars to keep our territories secure. Our files indicate she's second in command, so getting on her good side will ensure you get into the Crimson Fleet. And let Neva Mora take his place. Or Shinya Voss. Or any one of a number of pirates already gunning for his position. Lieutenant Toft can explain. You will not leave this ship alive! People have died because you were too stubborn to find a safer solution. This is not how you see SysDef operates. Since SY-920 is a top-secret facility, it won't be difficult for Mast to cover up your horrible mistake. If I didn't have confidence in your abilities, we wouldn't be having this conversation. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask. It appears you have a bit of a background as a homesteader. Good. Your self-sufficiency will certainly prove useful. We will shadow you eventually, but we'll need to maintain our distance for now, especially while you're on the key. Then you do what you have to do. My superiors are stubborn. They aren't going to authorize an attack on the key based on my flights of fancy, I've been told. During the end of the Narian War, the money was destined to bolster the Freestar Collective's coffers. And I told you, their deaths are on your hands, not mine. We've been trying for years to get someone on the inside, and now we have it. With the acquisition of the Comspike, the fleet is one step closer to Crix's legacy. Very concerned. Which is why when this is over, I'm going to ask Mas for forgiveness, not permission. Seems like you have a bit of a background in deep space navigation. Well, that should definitely prove useful. Are we really playing this game? All my hopes and my best wishes go with you. Good luck. And to be fair, their point is not without merit. Should we go to war, funds from the legacy could lead directly to the death of our soldiers. I did not expect such a callous reason as your motivation, but I clearly misjudged you when I approved your addition to the team. And if we had enough firepower to take them down without you, I would spare you from this. I understand certain liberties must be taken to maintain your cover, but your core morality has to remain intact. And on behalf of the United Colonies and Commander Natara, I thank you. She's a force to be reckoned with, so don't underestimate her. Still on hold until we can get the politics sorted. Some of the officials at Mast have brought up concerns about returning the legacy to a collective we were just at war with. That's the only course of action. There's no scenario here where the fleet will be allowed to continue. I do. You don't have the time to do any of that. I'm pretty sure you're joking. But just in case you're fishing for what I'd say, I can tell you this. Please, finish your thought, so that we can move on to other business. That's admirable. But I don't think anyone in the Crimson Fleet, especially Delgado, is going to see things that way. The Crimson Fleet doesn't follow the rules. They only abide by one thing: money. No, we can't afford to wait it out. Now that they've lost their prize, they'll act more desperately than ever to survive. We'll be able to source what we need from Reliant Medical, but it's going to be quite expensive. Your ship will need special protection to ensure the electromagnetic disturbances in the planet's atmosphere don't fry your sockets. They perceive the pirates as simple opportunists and thieves, willing to betray each other the moment a better offer arrives. Ideally, we'd have enough to take on all three at once, but this will have to do. I've always known that when it came down to it, you'd do the right thing. This is Commander Ikande. All hands, abandon ship. However, that doesn't give you an excuse to act as judge, jury, and executioner. What the hell were you thinking? Look, your past stumbles aside, I still believe you can do this job while upholding that standard. Excuse me. This briefing has not concluded. Get back here now. All decks, defensive stations. Drive them back. That doesn't diminish the gravity of the mistake you've made. But it's not just that. I strongly believe that the UC has a duty to destroy the Crimson Fleet. Leave me. The evidence you've been bringing to Lieutenant Toft has been instrumental in convincing the brass at mast to greenlight the attack. Pretty unremarkable past. Not much to speak of there. In fact, when he returned to the key and you didn't immediately follow, well, we almost thought our operation was terminated. Of course I am. But it's a calculated risk. Shouldn't you be heading back to your ship? Hearing and comprehending are two different things. Let's hope for both our sakes that you fully understand the situation. Well then, let's just see what we can do about that, eh? Whatever caused you to side with these lawless pirates, I hope it was worth it. I am not killing anyone. Jillian, please. This is not the time or the place. This isn't over. You have Mast's full attention now. Lieutenant Toft will explain all of the details. Seems like you have a bit of a background as a chef. That's an interesting vocation to have abandoned. One poor review too many, perhaps? If the money were truly enough, then you wouldn't need a trophy to parade around your station. We need eyes and ears inside the Crimson Fleet. Someone who can feed us information, evidence, and expose their weaknesses. Do you understand what you've done here? I'm well aware Ayumi Komiko wasn't a model citizen. In fact, from what I've been told, she's quite the opposite. Once you bluff your way into the Crimson Fleet, then the operation proceeds to evidence gathering. You see, Lieutenant? I told you she wouldn't let us down. You won't have any resistance from myself or Lieutenant Toft. Our regular agents can be a little too rigid, because they're trained to follow orders. I'm sorry it's come to this, but you've left me no choice. You're under arrest. Lieutenant Toft will escort you to the brig immediately. You don't have a license to execute civilians, regardless of their past transgressions. Is that understood? Not this time. That's why you want to stay on his good side, and stay away from Neva. She's shrewd, and she's sniffed out everything we've thrown her way. If the intelligence I've read is accurate, Delgado is a charismatic leader, but a bit short on judgment. That convict is where you enter the picture. I respect your decision. All I can do at this point is implore you to reconsider. You see, Lieutenant? I told you they wouldn't let us down. What you did was uncalled for. I have to admit, for the first time in 7 years, I don't know what to say. Ensign, take this and enter it into the data core analyzer. Unfortunately, we're hampered by the same obstacles as the Crimson Fleet. I'm not certain. Galbank uses their own proprietary transponder system. Even a ship as old as the Legacy would be a challenge to trace. Do you understand? Whatever crimes you've committed in the past no longer matter. You're now an agent of SysDef, meaning that it's my job to keep you alive. I'm holding tangible confirmation of the word Legacy attached to Crix's name. That's too much of a coincidence to attribute to myth. But make no mistake, the next time you harm an innocent life, you are off this operation for good. Look, I'm going to make this simple. Agree to work for UC SysDef, and together we take down the Crimson Fleet. There are no shortcuts. The route you're taking to secure Crix's legacy for the Crimson Fleet is the only one at our disposal. We move quick around here. Better get used to it. Keep up the good work. We'll expect further reports. Dismissed. You'd better hope so. Sersha won't be easy to dupe. Any attempt to move the comm spike would be a waste of time. We need to play this close to the vest. You're under arrest. I expect you to follow Lieutenant Toft to the brig peacefully, or else we'll have to use lethal force. If the military rolls in and attacks the Crimson Fleet, we'd have a full-scale war on our hands. That means losses, heavy losses, that the United Colonies can't afford. Suffice to say that the smuggler who was previously holding it will be spending the rest of their life in prison. If that's the case, inform our contacts on Neon that our operative will be touching down there in the near future. Worse still, because of your recklessness, we had to send the council a request for a new batch of supplies. Says here you spent some time as a diplomat. That isn't quite what we do around here, but still,
Having a way with words might prove useful.
We intercepted your exchange with the Ragana. What the hell possessed you to kill those innocent people?
So, what do you say? You going to work with me, or should I find someone else?
You've got a meeting with the Black Fleet set up on planet XYZ.
You're damn right. Let me make this crystal clear. You do what you can to stay in the fleet, but it's not a license to kill. That is where we draw the line.
Thank you. I wasn't sure what you were planning to do with them, or if you still needed them for your cover. To put it simply, you can't go into every situation with guns blazing. You're going to make me go through this again. Fine. I'll make it short and simple.
Which means you will follow my orders and do exactly as I say.
It would be pointless. You handled yourself well in this situation, but you may not be able to keep your hands clean for long.
I will not get off your back. I told you when you began this operation that you're under my command.
No. By choosing to bring Crix's legacy to us, they're likely already reeling from the blow. If we strike now. I understand you are used to getting your hands dirty. That's partly why we chose you. I don't disagree. But it's important to know your enemy and the best way to defeat them.
People have died because you were too stubborn to find a safer solution.
The Crimson Fleet is motivated purely by material wealth. Bloodshed is typically a side effect of getting what they want.
So no, I will not comply. This isn't just about the vigilance or getting revenge on the fleet.
You just need to make sure you allay any suspicions they have. Staying within the proper moral boundaries, of course. Get caught with this stuff aboard a ship, and you're looking at some serious fines.
Perhaps. But instead of spending time debating our predecessors' mistakes, we should be working towards a rapid solution.
If we get too close, we not only expose ourselves to an attack, but we might blow your cover, and that could get everyone killed.
Someone has died because you were too stubborn to find a safer solution. This is not how UC SysDef operates.
Now that we have that out of the way, let me introduce myself. But the moment you agreed to work with us, you agreed to abide by our rules. Actually, that's something new we're trying. I figured we needed to branch out a bit, broaden our horizons. Looks like you spent some time as a cyberneticist. I bet you have quite the analytical head on your shoulders. Good. Fortunately, the UC realizes that the cost of the goods pales in comparison to the cost of human lives, and I expect you to go peacefully. Do you understand? Do what you have to, but not what you can't do. All I can tell you is that the key and the planet that it's orbiting once belonged to the United Colonies, and they were lost to those pirates. Let them remember. They have no idea who actually hired them. And as for what happens to the money itself, that really isn't up to me. It's up to my superiors. They'll make sure it's sent to the right place. Excellent. I had a hunch you'd be the right person for the job. I'm sorry it's come to this, but you left me no choice. Look, I can see that you're struggling with this. So let me simplify this for you. After all, it was our fault that the Crimson Fleet was unleashed upon the settled systems in the first place. The last agent I sent to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet ended up in a morgue on New Atlantis.
Take out those ships! Damn it! Since SY-920 is a top-secret facility, it won't be difficult for Mass to cover up your horrible mistake. Which means you will follow my orders and do exactly what I say.
If I didn't think you had a chance, I would have left you in lockup. The destruction of this vessel and the deaths of everyone aboard falls on your shoulders. Best of luck. You are headed into a snake pit. Be sure to watch your step.
There's no way she could do it remotely. Could she? I don't know whether to believe you.
Think before you act. Calculate what you're doing and pull the trigger only when it's absolutely necessary.
You're back.
So how did it go?
SysDef is done regardless. You made sure of that.
Spoken like a member of UC SysDef. They were the pirates that attacked your mining outpost? I'm surprised you don't remember. Of course you have a choice. It's just stacked in my favor.
Good. The more confusion and panic we cause, the more damage we can potentially inflict.
First, let me see what we're working with here. UC SysDef is a division of the UC Navy. While they handle the big picture stuff, we deal with a very particular problem. The Crimson Fleet. You'll get paid once I consider your report complete.
It seems you had quite the eventful mission on your hands.
As much as I hate to admit it, UC SysDef won't stand a chance.
The fleet will become stronger and more unified than ever. Now I have to waste precious time smoothing this over with Mast. Make up excuses, perhaps even lie on my reports. We'll secure it here for now, but eventually we'll be bringing it back to Mast. All right. I think we're all in agreement here. So let's get back to the operation at hand. You know, I have to admit, I'm a bit surprised. The Crimson Fleet has the potential to kill hundreds, even thousands of people per year. Look, before you begin, I want to make something perfectly clear. That is what you pirates always say to justify your crimes. Murder, pillaging, all of it is incidental, and yet you continue to do it. I need you to do whatever you can to bring us more information. And for God's sake, don't kill anyone on that Starliner. I am not doing anything. You think I am the one causing this to happen? There is also talk that the Legacy could be a bargaining chip in any future peace talks, and simply handing it over could cost us leverage. They have information about the comm spike? Damn it. I have activated the Vigilance's self-destruct. It won't be long before this ship and everyone who remains aboard are going to be incinerated. All right. Send this one to the lockup on Sidonia. Let them deal with the problem. You bastard. All ships, bring that pirate to justice. Speaking of which, I assume you copied the information from the Galbank's computers. They have people that will handle Trident's lawyers, so we can continue our jobs bringing down the Crimson Fleet. Good luck. You search for more options, and when those fail, you search for even more. Anything that prevents you from drawing that weapon. It's unfortunate, yes. But we wouldn't be here if I didn't believe you could do it. Part of being an effective SysDef agent is weighing all your options, then choosing the path of least resistance while minimizing loss of life. I don't remember asking how you felt about anything. Take him down! Do whatever it takes! Unacceptable. There are always alternatives. I will likely take a moment for myself and drink to those we lost in this fight. Unfortunately, I don't think the Freestar Collective would be willing to provide resources to anything related to the United Colonies. Just remember, these are ruthless criminals, so don't let your guard down. I'd hoped you'd give me some insight, some reason why things ended up this way. But I suppose that was too much to expect. I don't want promises. I'm just asking you to think. You coerced the pilot into taking a crew member's life. You had no choice but to comply. Before you jump to Bannock 4, I need to make one thing abundantly clear. We've been prodding at the Crimson Fleet for years, trying to take them down one ship at a time. But we barely scratched the surface, which is precisely why we're taking a more clandestine approach. All Crimson Fleet ships destroyed. SysDef, secure that perimeter. I want any stragglers rounded up for trial. Perfect. But I tire of these debates. You've won, so I have no choice but to submit to your cruelty. Now, let's see what we're working with here. As a citizen of the United Colonies, I accept my responsibilities. You, on the other hand, clearly couldn't give a damn. Do something like this again, and you're out. I'll hang the goddamn wanted posters myself. Understood? No. You shouldn't be familiar with it. It's a highly classified project. But remember who you're dealing with. Pirates, criminals, and thieves. They won't think twice about killing you. So don't let some misguided mercy be your undoing. That's strange. According to your file, you've encountered them before. On Vectera specifically. All I can do now is appeal to your sense of justice and implore you to take this step to help rid the settled systems of these cutthroat pirates. Highly perceptive. Let me add that to your list of skills. All right. I think we're all in agreement here. So let's get back to the operation at hand. But as much as I'd like to begin this celebration, technically we're still in the process of wrapping up the operation. It appears you spent several years as a bounty hunter. That type of background will get you quite far around here. I knew we could count on your support. We will be dead long before you can do such a thing. No miracle. Just calculated and careful planning, courtesy of UC SysDef. You should learn to be more confident in our abilities, and your own. Now I want to make this crystal clear. You do what you can to stay in the fleet, but there's an ethical line we cannot cross. I don't care about my life. I just want assurances that my crew will be spared. Bah, the hell with that. Enjoy the reward for once. You deserve it. Good.
I have just the right place for you to start.
If this is how you want it to end, then so be it.
So what does Delgado have you doing next? Has he solved the Bannock 4 problem? Think before you act. Assess the situation and pull the trigger only when it's absolutely necessary. That's it. Exactly. That's why it's imperative that we double our efforts and take them down once and for all. Well, let me let you in on a bit of a surprise. Something I've been working on for a while.
Guards, stop them! Lieutenant, take them down! Do whatever it takes!
In my eyes, your past service no longer matters. You're now an agent of SysDef, meaning that it's my job to keep you alive.
At ease, soldier. The woman has a record that could stretch across Seoul and back. She started young as one of Neon's street rats and worked her way up to second in command. The only reason you should be opening fire on anyone is in the defense of your own life. Renegade, it's all up to you now. Move in.
Maybe. But we only have to delay you long enough for this self-destruct to initiate. They're a menace to civilized society. They attack supply ships, terrorize systems, and kill innocents all under a banner of greed. Let's just say my superiors need proof that engaging the Crimson Fleet is a larger priority than they're willing to admit.
I believe congratulations are in order. With this decisive blow, the end of the Crimson Fleet is all but assured.
You're starting to panic. I can tell. Smart decision.
I've received the reports about that stunt you pulled on Neon.
I'm your ticket out of the mess you've gotten yourself into. That's all you need to know for now. As I said before, we expect a certain amount of illegal activity in order for you to maintain your cover.
Keeping Mast out of the loop regarding this particular mission has proven exceptionally difficult. But we've managed to keep your involvement in the dark. Honor, loyalty, and valor are exactly the attributes we admire in a SysDef operative. I've twisted arms and cashed in some favors at Mast. I wanted to make sure you got a share of the money you recovered from the legacy.
Then you're going to get yourself killed. So listen up, because my advice might just keep you alive.
Did you discover anything worth reporting yet? How can I help?
Let's focus on that and move forward with the mission. That's why I expect you to constantly seek alternative means to overcome your obstacles, rather than blowing holes in them.
Nice work. Any specific evidence you picked up regarding criminal activity should be given to Lieutenant Toft after the debriefing.
If it takes a few deaths to maintain your cover, then so be it. But only as an absolutely final resort. This is not a licensed killing spree. Understood? It appears you spent some time as a combat medic. Good to know that you can take care of yourself under fire.
In the past, you speak in riddles, pirate, but I will tell you plain. I've tried to be patient with you, but my patience and your time with SysDef is at an end.
If I were you, I'd check my tone. I'm in no mood. I think there's no record because Galbank is hiding something.
Your words mean nothing to me. I only regret that I believed them before.
Do what you have to do, but remember why you're out there in the first place.
All right. I think we're all in agreement here. So let's get back to the operation at hand.
Lieutenant Toft is correct. I'm sorry, but there is no turning back.
Their remnants are still scattered across the galaxy, including Nevermora. People have died because you were too stubborn to find a safer solution. Watch yourself out there. But you know damn well how capable of a soldier you are. We need you on this. I'm sorry.
You're both dismissed. When you feel you've gathered enough evidence, and at the completion of your assignments, head back here for a debrief. In actuality, I believe the fleet is a massive threat, one that's growing more and more organized as the years pass. The Vigilance is equipped with one of the most advanced intelligence suites in the UC fleet. Nothing slips through.
Impossible. How could you know such a thing? I heard about that little stunt you pulled on the Siren of the Stars. Opening fire on a Starliner? Are you out of your mind?
You realize that there is no way I'm going to allow the Vigilance to fall into the hands of the Crimson Fleet.
I certainly would have preferred to have reached a resolution regarding her whereabouts. After all, she was the fleet's second in command.
Then there is one positive to come out of this senseless tragedy. Seems you spent quite a few years as a sculptor. It's quite a long way from an artist to a criminal, wouldn't you say?
You must think me a fool. You betrayed me once already. Why in God's name would I believe you now?
I'm not at liberty to explain the origin of the Crimson Fleet right now. But suffice to say, it's a massive embarrassment to the UC. If you think for one moment I'm going to allow you to continue under my command, then you've seriously underestimated my judgment. You aren't leaving until I have an answer. I've received the reports about that stunt you pulled inside of Genadine. Opening fire inside a civilian facility. Are you out of your mind? If the money were truly enough, then you would not have to lie. I would not be a threat. You could send me back to Mast. Take her down! Do whatever it takes! Thanks to your evidence, we are finally able to convince them to task us the necessary resources. Your lies are as plain as your motives. The self-destruct has not been disabled. Dismissed. Lieutenant Toft will explain all of the details. Legacy. Why does that sound familiar? She works for the Trade Authority in Sidonia. So you'll be using a container of Aurora we've loaded on your ship to get her attention. It's going to be difficult for you to weigh the consequences of pulling the trigger while maintaining your cover. You're damn right! And regardless of what you think, the cruelty is the point. But I will continue to live, in hopes that someday I can make it your downfall. You see, Lieutenant? I told you he wouldn't let us down. Aside from your eyewitness testimony, I assume you have the usual evidence that could lead to her incarceration? I hope you're comfortable. We have a lot to discuss. We can't let Delgado get his hands on what could potentially turn out to be the largest haul of credits the Crimson Fleet's ever seen. All this ugliness aside, were you at least able to join the fleet? You mean your latest excursion to Neon? You have your orders. I trust you to follow them. Basically, if you land in jail, you're going to have to deal with the fines. You're being removed from the ship and transferred to prison, where you'll pay for your crimes. I can assure you that we'll take full responsibility for Crix's legacy from here on out. If what you say is true, and that's a big if, then perhaps escalating this is not the answer. Eager to get going? Good. Yes, I can see that. I'm the prize to be dangled in front of your fellow pirates. Seems like you have a bit of a background in deep space hauling. I'm sure we can put that to good use. If nothing else, it will keep the vigilance out of the fleet's hands. Ah, there you are. Excellent. Just keep in mind that your actions are not bereft of consequences. Is that understood? There you are. Where have you been? If you change your mind, the vigilance will be stationed here at the quay for a while. We have quite the mess to clear up. I don't want to repeat these orders ever again. Lieutenant Toft is just as prepared to make this sacrifice as I am. Why the hell do you care anyway? This is the second time we've been through this. We intercepted your exchange with the Ragana. We're trying to confirm if the pilot really did kill Rake. The only admiration I hold for the Crimson Fleet is the fact that they aren't going to be a problem for much longer. Unless my reaction just told you. Now, get off my ship! If Delgado gains access to those resources, we might be touching off a battle we can't possibly win. All of their morals and social graces fall by the wayside in pursuit of their greed. Suffice to say, he's got a lot to answer for. I will not get off your back. I told you when you began this operation that you're under my command. So there is some loyalty amongst the fleet. And I don't want to sentence future sons and daughters to die. That's what I wanted to hear. On that note, Lieutenant, what do you have for me? Actually, we send those out with the H-15 welcome packet. But you must have overlooked it. Good. After we're done here, arrange a briefing. I want all of their CEOs over here as soon as possible. Looks like you spent your younger years undergoing quite an extensive pilgrimage. I hope you found what you are looking for. I understand your concern. What I'm asking you to do is a very dangerous task, and at this point, you should think about it carefully. I realize you have a role to play, but you have to be better than those pirates. You always have a choice! The Crimson Fleet is a product of our negligence, and I aim to rectify that mistake. Yes, I know. I was intentionally vague when I advised Mast of my needs, but rest assured, I'll answer all your questions in due time. Allowing Delgado to get Crix's legacy or keeping it for yourself would have extremely serious repercussions. I've studied your profile. I know you can do this. I'm not about to throw away someone's life on a whim or a prayer. I repeat, abandon ship. Or what? You will kill me? You have already done that. I was hoping you'd agree to work for UC SysDef. And together, we take down the Crimson Fleet. Yes, I suppose you're right. Disappointing. but not entirely unexpected. That's right. So it'll be your job to convince this person that you're the real deal.
You would go so far. Despicable. You search for more options. And when those fail, you search for even more. Anything that prevents you from drawing that weapon.
I take it the rest of your mission went as planned?
The only reason you should be opening fire on anyone is in the defense of your own life.
Now, get out of here. And good luck. We are currently in the Sol system, in deep orbit around Phobos. As to why, I'll explain momentarily. That being said, I believe you should be proud of what you've accomplished.
Guards, stop them!
Anyway, enough talk. You've earned a break, and I'm sure you wish to celebrate. Here's your promised reward. But even if the money is ever returned to its rightful owner, and I believe it will, eventually, I'm sure they'd agree you deserve your share. I'd like to brief you on the mission, so please, pay attention. But that doesn't mean what you did to Carl Fielding is acceptable behavior.
Guards, we've got a runner!
Immediately, Lieutenant. Notify the engineers and relay the information to the crew. That's a smart line to follow. Part of this role you're playing means having to make hard choices. Just remember not to lose yourself in the part. Remember, this entire operation rests on your ability to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet and bring us the evidence we need to take them down.
It's been a pleasure having you as part of my team.
I understand your sarcasm, but you can't deny that this data involves both Crix and Legacy. In my mind, it bears further investigation. It certainly does. So listen up. Excuse me. I don't remember you having much of a choice in the matter. There is no greater humiliation than to be here, in a prison of my own making.
Anything else, which means you will follow my orders and do exactly what I say.
Refuse, and I tell these guys to throw you into the nearest lockup. Might even tack on an extra few hundred credits to your fine.
Part of your job was keeping those people back on Neon alive. Whether they're guilty or not wasn't up to you to decide.
Well, we'll see about that.
You always have a choice.
And even if we could find the ship, we don't have anything strong enough to resist those levels of EM radiation. I wouldn't expect any less. Frankly, it's because we've never gotten this far before. Simple, really. I've never been able to convince the top brass just how much of a threat the Crimson Fleet has been to the settled systems. Until now. Beyond that, you're completely on your own. Then it's just a matter of time before she reverse engineers it to fit the fleet's purposes. Then it worked. You're in. As distasteful as your methods were, at least you managed to complete the job. That's classified. Clever, Delgado. Very clever. If I were in your place, I'd be trying to do the exact same thing.
Damn, I'm going to be really sorry to see you go.
No, I am not.
You forced me into this position.
Yes, of course, Lieutenant. Time is short, and we should get to the matter at hand. Now that we've established your level of cooperation with us, I want to introduce you to your new home. So I heard there was a bit of excitement on the Siren of the Stars. Your handiwork, I assume?
You're not doing it for me. You're doing it for the security of the settled systems. That's ridiculous. While it's true you've made some difficult decisions, they were all for the greater good. We still have time to fend you off. We only have to survive long enough for the self-destruct to initiate.
In light of the circumstances you've created here, I think you owe me that much. You were saying? You have permission to speak.